Hi precious people, welcome to Heart Joy Crochet. My name is Jill and today we will be learning to crochet this beautiful bookmark. I know it looks quite fancy, but the only stitches you're going to need to know will be the chain stitch and the single crochet. So I'm going to be using this cotton yarn here, and the recommended hook size for this yarn is a size 3. So that's this one. You can use any yarn you like, just adjust your hook size to the recommended one for your yarn. These are the hooks that I love to use. They're very light, they're ergonomic, and the yarn glides through them like a dream. They're also manufactured by a predominantly female workforce who are paid fair market wages and work in a safe and healthy environment. And not to mention that they're super cute. Put this over like this. There's more on this side. So I have a link in the description if you're interested in these hooks. So now we're going to start with a chain of 8. So I'll make a slip knot. That's how I make a slip knot. There are many ways to make slip knots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Next we're going to do a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So we've got the loop on the hook. We've got the first chain right there. We're going to go into the second one, which is right there. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through. That's your first single crochet. So we're going to do that 2 more times. So into the next chain, which is not there, that's where you just single crocheted into. It's this one here. So we're going to insert our hook, yarn over again, and pull through. Now we're on to our third one. So we're not going to crochet into here. We're going to go into the next chain, which is right there. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. So that's our first 3 single crochets. What we're going to do next is we're going to do 3 more single crochets. We're going to do them into the same chain though. So that's not a chain we're going into. That's not the next chain. That's where we just crocheted into. The next chain is right here. So we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Then into the same hole, we're going to do that 2 more times. So that's the hole there. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And then insert your hook again, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so now we're going to go to the end with 3 more single crochets. So the next chain here is there, so we're going to insert our hook, the next chain, and then the next chain. So you can see there's 1 more chain left, but we're not going to go into that. So you can see that if we put it like that, you can see already that there's a bit of a shape happening. It's not going straight across. And that's because we single crocheted those 3 into the same stitch. It's giving it a bit of an arched appearance. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So this row here is going to be the repeat row until the end. So this is the row we're going to keep going until we've decided how long we want our bookmark to be. So we can see here that this is the chain that you just did, and this here is your first stitch. So that's the chain, that's the first stitch there. So it's got a V on top, the V of the chain, the V of the first stitch, and underneath you can see it's got a hole. We're not going into the first stitch, we're going into the second stitch. So I'm just going to put my hook back on. Okay, so first stitch, I'm going to put it like that. So that's the second stitch. And something different we're going to do here is something you may never have encountered before, but we're going to single crochet only into the back loop. So that's the front loop, that's the back loop. So put your single crochet in there. We're going to do that 3 times. Then into the next back loop. And then the next one right there. Okay, so now, like we did in the first row, we're going to single crochet 3 times into the same stitch. So, but this time it's not the whole stitch, it's only the back loop. So there's the back loop. We're going to single crochet in there. Oops, lost my, so I'm just going to have to undo that. It happens with this yarn, it can be a bit stringy and kind of can break apart. So this is the second one. And then the third one into this hole. Okay, so that's 3 single crochets into that same stitch. And you can see that it looks a bit different because we're only doing it into the back loop. So then we're going to single crochet into the next 3 stitches, into the back loop again. So 1, 2, and 3. You can see here that there's a stitch left, but we're not going to go into that because we skipped the first stitch at the beginning. We're going to skip the last stitch at the end. So we're going to chain 1 again, turn our work, and again we're going to single crochet not into the first stitch but into the second stitch. So you can see here that's our chain, that's our first stitch with the stitch under there. Now we're going to crochet into, so that's the first stitch, the second stitch. Insert your hook, and we're going to do that 3 times. So back loop, single, back loop again, now we've come to this stitch where we're going to do 3 single crochets into the back loop. 1, and there's the hole there. Going back into that hole. 2, back into that hole again. 3. And again we're going to go 3 single crochets into the next 3 stitches to the back loop. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you can see there's a stitch left. We're not going to go in there. So you can see here that by only crocheting into the back loop, it creates this nice pattern on the front, a ridged area, which is formed by the front loop that wasn't crocheted into. Okay, so now we're going to start on our third row. So we're going to chain one, or third repeat row. So we're not going to go into the first stitch, which is this one. This V here is the first stitch with a hole underneath that you could go into if you wanted to, but it's the second stitch, which is this one here, and we're going to go into the back loop only. So single crochet into the back loop, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to single crochet 3 times into the same stitch. 1 into this hole here, 2, and again into the same hole, 3. Then 3 single crochets into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's your row repeat. And I'm going to meet you at the end, and you just keep crocheting until you get to your desired length, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so here I am at the end with my finished bookmark. So I'll show you how long this is. This is, I think it's approximately 8 inches or about 20 centimetres, but you can make it whatever length you like. I'm going to now weave in the ends. If you don't know how to weave in ends, I'm just going to do a quick demonstration here, but I'll link my tutorial to weaving in ends so they're nice and secure if you wanted to have a look at that. So I'm just going to turn it over to the wrong side. So you always know your right side and your wrong side. If you're a right-handed crocheter, your right side, the beginning tail here will be on the left. And if you're left-handed, the beginning tail will be on the right. So I'm just going to turn it over to the wrong side. And I'm going to just work through some stitches here. Don't pull too tight because we don't want to wreck the look of the bookmark by pulling it tight. Just keep going through like that, just weaving it through wherever you think. And I like to skip a stitch and then go back through there. And then just keep going. Okay, that'll do. Just snip that off. This end also needs to be done. Okay, so with the magic of YouTube, I just wove in the end down here. Now what we're going to do is make the tail. So need your yarn and your hook. Make a slip knot. I'm going to turn your bookmark upside down. We're going to work into this hole here. So hold your yarn like that. Insert your hook into the hole, yarn over and pull through, and then slip stitch into your loop on your hook. Now I'm going to chain 16. And 16. So again, of course, you make your tail as long or as short as you like. So now we're going to cut our yarn, but leave a good tail here because we're going to need it later. So snip, pull your yarn through like this, secure it like that. So with the loose end here, now we'll insert that into our tapestry needle because we're going to have to use it in a sec. Okay, and then just leave it there. Now we're going to get the rest of our yarn and we're going to start making the tassel. So what you have to do is drape the yarn over your hand like that, and then we're going to wrap it around our hand about 12 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now snip your yarn. So now we have our yarn off our hand. We're just going to hold the yarn like this. So there's a hole at the top. Get your needle and yarn and insert it through here. And then keep pulling the yarn until you get to the end of the chains here. What we're going to do now is we're going to insert our needle into the last chain here. So just from the back, and pull through. Okay, pull it nice and tight. We'll do that 3 or 4 times. So I'm going through again. Into the last stitch. Pull it tight. Pull it through again. Into the last stitch. Pull it tight. We'll do it one more time. So we have the tassel yarn nice and secure here. I'm going to take the yarn with the needle underneath the tail end there. And now we're going to pull this yarn down all together like that. And we're going to wrap this yarn around. So we're going to do that 3 or 4 times. But we need to keep the needle in it because we still need to use the needle. So that's 1. Bring it down a bit. It's 1, 2, 3, then 1 more. I'm going to make sure it's nice and secure. Okay, so find your needle, turn your work over to the back. What we're going to do now is we're going to insert our needle into there, like so, and then we're going to make a knot. So go come back through here and make a knot. Then you're going to get your needle and you're going to insert it all the way through all those pieces of yarn there. Pull it through again and then just pull it down. Okay, so we can take our needle off, and now we've gotten to the bit which I must confess is my favourite bit, and it's forming the tassel here. So I'm just going to give these two pieces a trim here, because they're way too long. Now grab your tassel and cut in half. So just go up like this and cut in half. I love doing this. I get some pleasure out of it. I feel like I'm a hairdresser giving someone a haircut. Oh, I've got one there, it's not cut. Okay. And now, just to end off, we need to make sure, see how they're all a bit uneven. This is where the hair cutting comes in. We're going to cut them and make them all even. How does that look? I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to get that out of the way. And there is your bookmark. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this bookmark. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments, and I'd also love to know how you went with it. I have other beginner crochet videos on my channel if you're interested. It was lovely to spend time together, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.